Hey, Steve with Trimble. In this week's Connected Construction tip, we're going to show you how to set the scanner elevation a couple different ways. Now, I'm going to start a scan. I could set the elevation of a scanner by just doing a resection or measure two grid lines. If they have elevation, obviously the first scan would be placed to that elevation and actually to those control points in X and Y as well too. But for a lot of floor analysis, it's actually easier to just you only have like a reference elevation to hit, and we can do that just with the scanner a couple different ways. So this is a little bit easier. I could also have no model, point north, and then measure reference elevation. This is kind of going to do the same thing, but allow me to move the scanner a little bit easier. So if I do a resection, I actually lock that scanner into place, so I can't change the reference elevation. So if I was doing like a floor analysis, and I decided, hey, if I moved everything up a half inch or measured from that as my reference, I don't have to grind. I just need to order RDEC. Allows you to kind of do that math to figure out what makes sense for that floor. So with this first scan, it'll come in. I'm going to show you how to measure from the base of the unit as well as use a reference elevation. You can actually see a target on the back there. That's about 59 inches above the floor below it. I just measured that with a tape measure, and I want to make sure that it does hit that as 59. How do I get there? So after that, we're going to continue, actually scan one more time where I have a target outside on the ground. If I was going to say I wanted the stoop to be 0, how do I change the scan in here to actually make that 0, right? Because there'll be two separate scans. So we'll go ahead and show you how to do that. So with the scan coming in, we'll get to that. We'll show you how to measure it just from the base of the unit, and then we'll show you how to actually measure it just from the station view itself too. So we'll wait for this one to finish, and then it'll transfer in. So if I were to measure and I wanted to make this essentially right below the scanner, my 0, I can measure to the base, 41 inches, and then add 8 inches to get to the scan center, which would be right there at the middle. That's the first way. Sometimes the easiest, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is my reference. That would make this my reference elevation, which a lot of times I don't always want to. So we have the scan already set. I'm going to actually place it so that I know within here, within the model or DWG or PDF that I have, everything's lining up. So I moved it X and Y. We know that's good. I can go for an auto extract, which will tell me the current scan elevation was at -1 foot, but it computed it as 40 or 4'2" inches. If I live with that one, we'll come back here and show you that. Everything's going to be a little bit high because the extraction, it's usually looking for something small. So I can come back in here, and what I said was 41 inches. If I go to 49 inches, I should start to see that floor come in at 0 there, which it does. And obviously the base is just what I can't see below it. So that's measuring. My other option is to come in here. I have a mark on the wall. I'm going to do a generate high quality image so I can see the bottom of this. But if I did it this way, I can come in, hit that measure button, and that should be, what does that show me? About a 16th high. So if I wanted to actually fix for that, I can come in here and make this 15/16. And so what that just did was move this one. So when I come back here, that if I click that same point, and a 16th is pretty hard to actually select just visually, but it does lock on. So that's 59 inches above the floor. So I can edit for that. Now, if I continue to scan, which I will, and I move my way to like an elevator core, something that I know I want to keep as my reference, I can scan this entire area and then reset later. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So we'll come in here, we'll scan. We'll extract the target that's on the ground outside. And we're going to say the center of that target, I want to make not 0, not the center. I want to make the center 13 centimeters. I'm actually gonna have to go out there and measure it again, but I'll show you the tilting target once we bring it in. Um, but that'll allow me to adjust. So a couple scans in, if I want to adjust it, I always can, to make sure that what I'm calling zero, what I'm calling my reference elevation, whether it's 0 or 100, I can adjust for it. So we'll wait for this scan to come in, and then we'll show you how to do that. All right, so we got the target in off the ground, and here you can see this would represent and can actually sit on a pole, just like your prism. But I'd want to measure to the center, which in this case is about 5 and what is that? 3/8 of an inch to the bottom. So that would allow me, without a pole, to know this is 5. Essentially, what this was sitting on out in the front porch is 5 and 3/8 above what I wanted to say 0. So if I come into the station view again, I can switch over to that scan, see it here, and I can extract this out. So this will actually search for a target. Let me actually come in here and delete that one. Search for target. Delete it one more time. So we create that target at the center. And what is that telling me? That is telling me that point right there is -2 and 1/16. But again, I want to say that's 5 and 3/8. So I can come back in here, and if I go to collect, I can't change the registered station. So I can't change the elevation of station 3 when I come in here. But what I can do is this. I can come in, delete the reference elevation, and then I'm going to remember this time. I want to make sure that this is telling me that's -2 and 1/16 of an inch down. So I'm going to add 5 and 3/8 plus this. So we'll say 7 and 3/8. I'll make that I'll add that to the station elevation. So 7 inches plus that is 8, plus 3/8 is 6. If I did a 16th, it would be, what would that be? 12 sixteenths, 13 sixteenths. So what I did there was added the difference there. And if I did that, that should make this ground right here 0, which it did. Now, because that's where I want the reference elevation to do, I can then tie in these other scans to that if that's my real elevation or what I determined is a best fit of that floor. I'm just going to register this other scans to this one. The XY will stay pretty much the same. Oh, actually, I messed that up. I wanted to make my moving scans right. Now, when I look at the elevation, everything in the room is going to be high. But obviously, where I called my 0 down here, near that target, is going to be at 0. So I can readjust for that. This allows me to put my scans in the correct XY and then fix for an elevation later. And I can always come in here and change that again as needed. If I wanted to, I could do this manually by coming in here. And let's say I just needed to move this. I could just grab it and move it like that. Usually that's a little bit easier by coming in here and moving it this way. So this would actually move it back to where it was, or I guess before my target was here at the 0. And so that put the floor over here at 0 again. But to be very precise, it is easier to lock it in with that. Now my scan data here is at 0. So my floor is at 0 going throughout. So That's it for this connected construction. If you have any questions, please reach out to your nearest building point distributor on this. Thanks.